Your first objective is to write the equation in slope-intercept form for the line that has the indicated slope, M, and y-intercept, B. This will be pretty easy because all you have to do is substitute it in. Write the equation in slope-intercept form for the line that has the indicated slope, M, and y-intercept, B. Whoops. I'll leave that on the screen so you can see it, but still be able to write underneath. This is the general form of slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So in this problem, you simply have to plug in negative 3/4 for m and a negative half for b. So you would have y equals a negative 3/4 x minus 1/2. Let's say we have a problem like this. What if m were 1/2 and b were 0? If I had to plug those in to the general form of y equals mx plus b, I would have y equals 1/2 x plus 0. But there's something out of place in this equation. What should we not put in there? The 0, right. So if that's the case, just make it y equals 1/2 x. Finding the slope of the line containing the indicated points. If you don't remember from Algebra 1 what the formula for slope is, it is this: y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And in your problem, it is x1, y1, x2, y2. First point, second point, x and y. And just plug in what you have. So y2 is negative 7, and subtract y1, which is 3. On the bottom, x2 is 9.2 minus x1, that's a negative 2.6. So negative 7 minus 3 is negative 10, and on the bottom you have 9.2 minus a negative 2.6, that's an 11.8. Now we're not going to leave our slope in this form. You can't have a negative 10 over 11.8 and just leave it like that. So on your calculator, you should type in a negative 10 divided by 11.8. And your slope will come out to be a negative 0.85, rounded to the hundredths place, which is 2 decimal places. The points are negative 3, 6, and negative 4, 5. Find the slope. To find the slope, given these 2 points, you're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 5, and subtract y1, that's 6. And then on the bottom, x2 is negative 4, subtract a negative 3. That is negative 1 over a negative 1. The answer should be 1. The point is negative 2, 0.5, negative 0.33, negative 7. Find the slope. To find the slope, you're going to have to do negative 7 minus 0.5, and then negative 0.33 minus a negative 2. So in your calculator, a negative 7 minus 0.5, negative 7 minus 0.5, that is, should be a negative 7.5. And on the bottom, a negative 0.33 minus a negative 2 is 1.67. Divide those two. Negative 7.5 divided by 1.67, rounded to the hundredths place, is negative 4.49. If the equation is not in this form, then you must put it in that form. Notice that you have 4x minus 2y equals 3. That is standard form. We need to put it in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So to do that, you want to get the y by itself. So you're going to leave this on the left-hand side and move the 4x over to the right, changing the sign. And once you do that, you have to divide everything by the number that is with the y. So divide everything by a negative 2. When you divide everything by a negative 2, you come up with the following. Y equals 2x minus 3/2. You have 8x equals y, or 6y. 8x equals 6y. You want it in slope-intercept form. So your y is on the right. You want to make certain that you move that y over to the left and change the sign, and move the x term to the right, change the sign. And when you do that, you can divide each side by the negative 6. So now you come up with y equals 8 over 6x. Is that how we should leave our answer?
Reduce it.
Yeah, you have to reduce it. So we're going to make it y equals 4/3 x. In this first problem that we did, we had this for our slope-intercept form. The slope is 2, and the y-intercept is the negative 3/2. So m was 2, and the slope, or the y-intercept, was negative 3/2. For the problem that we just did, we came up with this as our slope-intercept form. The slope is 4/3, and the y-intercept, b, is what? 0. I have a line passing through 3, 4 on a graph, and it has a slope of 5. If I know that there's a line passing through 3, 4, and it has a slope of 5, I can use this form, y equals mx plus b, to figure out what the equation is of that line. The first thing is to fill in the information that's given to you. This, 3, 4, a coordinate is expressed in xy form. So if it's in xy form, you can use the 3 and the 4 in the equation. 4 is y, and x is 3. We don't know what b is, but we do know the slope is 5. So we plugged in the point here and here, and we plugged in the slope there. Once you plug in those items, you can solve for b. So 4 equals 15 plus b. And then move that 15 over to the left-hand side. Make it minus 15. And you'll end up with a negative 11 for b. But negative 11 is not your answer. That's only the piece that you have to plug back in this spot. So your answer is y equals 5x minus 11. Remember, your slope was 5. Slope goes here. And we just solved for the y-intercept, negative 11. It goes here. Your practice problem is a line passing through negative 2, 4 with a slope of 6. We want to find the equation of the line passing through negative 2, 4 with a slope of 6. So y equals mx plus b is what you use. And you know that the slope is 6, so you put that there. And the x value from here is negative 2. We don't know b. We do know that y is 4. Using that equation, solve for b. So 4 equals 6 times negative 2, that's negative 12. And move that negative 12 to the left, make it plus 12. And then you'll come up with b, which is 16. But that's not the answer to the problem. You must plug it back into your equation. Remember, it's y equals mx plus b, and our slope was 6. And our y-intercept is 16. So y equals 6x plus 16 is the answer. Use the intercepts to graph each equation. To find the intercept, it's a very simple process. If you want to find the x-intercept, in other words, where the graph will cross the x-axis, then you plug in, to find the x-intercept, you plug in 0 for y. Plug a 0 in for y and solve for x. Of course, this cancels out to 0, and you're left with 8. So you have an x-intercept of 8, and you'll put that dot here. Now to find the y-intercept, you would plug a 0 in for x and solve for y. Of course, that 0 is gone, so 4y equals 8. Y would have to be 2. So put a dot where it says 2 on the y-axis. And after you have done that, you should have your graph. Remember, if you want to find the x-intercept, plug a 0 in for y, and then solve for x. If you want to find the y-intercept, plug a 0 in for x, and solve for y. Make those two dots on the axes, x-axis, y-axis, and then make your line.